And we are back here with another video today. Today we are looking at the Oregon Ducks and Dan Lanning's fifth season here at Oregon, looking to see if he can improve on last season, 13-2 overall record. A fantastic year for the Ducks. Was able to have some momentum going into last year, got that playoff win against Texas Tech 23-0, but then did lose to Indiana 56-22. Not a good second game, but honestly, it's Indiana, one of the best teams in the country. Or I'm sorry, one of the best teams in the last few years, I was going to say, and obviously the best team in the country last year, winning the national championship. So definitely a downgrade from the year before, when they went 13-1 with that one loss against Ohio State. Obviously, another bad loss in the first game, 41-21. I did forget to mention the JMU win, 51-34. I don't think that matters to most Oregon fans. I don't think beating JMU is much of a positive. Or it's a positive, but it's not important as less as beating Texas Tech. Or being able to compete with Indiana. So let's get into today's video. Before I get into it, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. Help me reach my goal of 6,600 subscribers by the end of July. We are marching on our way towards that goal. About 150 away. You guys have been doing a great job smashing that subscribe button. About 70 subscribers in the past 5 days. Absolutely fantastic. Happy July 4th. I know this video is coming out on July 4th, so happy July 4th. To all those in America and celebrating, and hopefully all the Europeans that are here watching the World Cup get to have a taste of July 4th, the fireworks, the hot dogs, the hamburgers, all the good stuff that we have here to offer here in America. But let's get into it. So game number one for this Oregon Ducks team, home game against Boise State. Obviously a very interesting game. Boise State, I think, is going to be a easier game than in some years for Boise State. Obviously, I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago, the three-point win over Boise State with Ashton Genty's team. I don't think that this Boise State team is as good as they were 2 years ago, but I do think that this is a better Boise State team than they were last year. I think it's somewhere in between that. A team that could compete for the Pac-12 title, but not a team that I think is going to compete on the same level as Oregon. So I have this as a win, probably 2-touchdown win here for Oregon in this first game. I think Dante Moore will look good in the first game here. Then next game is a road game against Oklahoma State. This is the second of the home and home series. Last year, 69-3 was the final in that one. That was really the nail in the coffin for Mike Gundy. That was just, after that loss, it's like, whoa, this Oklahoma State team's horrible. They're done, and Gundy is basically gone. I don't think he was fired after that game, if I'm remembering correctly, but that was basically it for him. So easy win there. I think that this year will be a more difficult year. Obviously, last year, 66-point gap. I don't think it's going to be that much of a gap, but I do think that Mestamaker and the new head coach and Morris will have a little bit of a struggle to be able to get to the caliber of Oregon as a team. So I have this as a win. It may be a little closer than I think it's going to be, but right now, Stillwater, it's there, but Dante Moore, you still have Uyangale with 6 sacks coming back from last year. Tuiala, the 9.5 sacks from last year. You're bringing back a lot of production on that defensive end that I think could cause a lot of havoc to a guy like Mestamaker in the backfield, playing a team the caliber of Oregon that you just did not play last year at North Texas. So I have this as a win here for the Ducks. Easy win against Portland. I'm not going to go into that. That will be a dominant, easy win. Last time they played, it was 81-7. Then a road game against USC. This game I did go back and forth on. And if you watch my USC prediction at all, I do think that USC is capable of winning this game, unlike what some people think it is. I think that Jada Mayava is a good quarterback, somebody that knows what he's doing, somebody that is very underrated. And I say this as a Notre Dame fan who does not like USC one bit, but I think Maiava is underrated. I think Lincoln Riley is in a win or lose his job type of year. Like this is it. If he doesn't win this year, it very much could be a the end of his career as the coach at USC. If he goes 8-4, he could very much be putting his job in danger. If he goes 7-5, I think he's fired. So I think that is a win there for Oregon, but much more competitive game than I think some people think. I think that USC is actually going to be a really good team this year. I have them going 10-2, I believe. It was either 10-2 or 9-3. It could be 9-3. But I have Oregon winning that game. Bye week, then USC, easy win here. Even though UCLA and Nico Iamaleava, new head coach there at UCLA. It will be an improvement based off of last year. I think that UCLA still has a lot of work to do and a lot of things that they still need to improve on. Bob Chesney, the new head coach there, obviously played Oregon last year, was the coach at James Madison. A much better talent level here, but you're still going to have a lot of transfers in from James Madison on that UCLA team. So I think that this is going to be a win. I don't see too many issues for the Ducks. We'll see if offensively, if they can keep them in check. Don't let it run away. A home game against Nebraska, another interesting one here. I think that this is a win. I think that the transfer quarterback, I think it's Calzada from UNLV, is an interesting dynamic, and Matt Rule is a okay head coach. He's a good head coach, but he doesn't seem to be in the same place he was when he was at Baylor, when he was at Temple, and coming back, he just hasn't seemed to be able to turn the curve with Nebraska. And when I say that, I don't just mean record-wise. I also mean just as a coach, it just watching the games and watching the footage and watching the players and watching the recruits that he's getting in, it just doesn't feel to me that this is the same level of talent that you need to compete at a high level. It's not just he's getting the high talent and it's just not producing on the field. I just don't think that he's getting the talent that he needs, and then they're just not really producing on the field because I don't know if they're capable of producing on the field. I think that the pickup of the UNLV quarterback is a big pickup for Nebraska. I think they have good pieces on the offensive line and some wide receivers that could really look good this year. The defense could be solid, but it's just do I really think they're going to compete with an Oregon team? No. Win there. Road game against Illinois. I don't think that there's going to be as many issues here. I think it's a down year for Illinois and Brett Bielema. But don't get me wrong, Illinois always does funky stuff against high-ranked teams always once a year. There was the Wisconsin game a few years ago. There was the Ohio State game all those years back. There was a Michigan game those few years back. Michigan State also. I could go down the list. Illinois always has somebody, so don't be surprised if they can slow down Oregon's offense, make this a 24-21 game, and who has 24 and who has 21. That's kind of going to be the difference in a game like that. Can a team be able to get to that 30-point mark? If Illinois is able to keep them under 30 points, I could very much see Illinois winning a game like that. But I do think Oregon is able to win that game, but just be watching out for that. Northwestern, the next game on the schedule, I think that this is a win. I'm not really in love with Northwestern right now. I think that they don't have the money to put into NIL. Their new stadium looks fantastic. It looks really cool, but they just don't have the money to put into NIL. The talent at Northwestern without Pat Fitzgerald as the head coach, they need a guy like a Kirk Ferentz there that's just going to be there for a long time and be able to develop talent that's going to – because people – I don't know if people realize this across the country, but Northwestern is a very difficult school to get into. Even for athletics, it still is. So, don't underrate the fact that Northwestern is a good school to get into, is a tough school, and a tough environment to recruit in. Most of those schools – a UNC, there's less of those requirements at a UNC. There's not as much of a lowered standard for athletes at a Northwestern compared to a UNC that's a high caliber academic program as well. But then next game is a road game against Ohio State. Basically a coin flip, looking at a couple of the results in past years. You had the Ohio State win at home. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to say that Ohio State does win this game. I think that Oregon won that last matchup against Ohio State. I'm sorry, last regular season matchup. Then you had the Ohio State win in the Rose Bowl, obviously, the blowout win. But I think that they're going to be able to continue this trend. I think Ryan Day and Julian Sayon, with it being at the Horseshoe, with it probably being a night game, I like where Ohio State's at a little bit more as in that spot to be able to slow down Oregon's offense. Defensively, I like the pass rush for Oregon, but does the secondary for Oregon, does it live up to the caliber that it needs to be without Dylan Thieneman? I think I'm saying that right. I'm starting to learn that name as a Bears fan. Looks like a great prospect out of college, but Thieneman not going to be there in the safety position. Are they able to make up for a guy like that? We'll see. So I have that as a loss. Then a home game against Michigan, I have that as a win. I think Michigan has some pieces, obviously, but I just don't know if they can keep up with the high-scoring offense of Oregon without having an elite quarterback. And maybe Bryce Underwood is that quarterback, but I got to see it before I really look for it. So win there. Playing Michigan State on the road, easy win there. I don't think there's going to be an issue. And then a home game at Washington, I have this as a win, but I could see it's a rivalry game. If it was at Washington, I'd be a lot more interested in picking Washington. But with it being at Oregon, last year Oregon won on the road against Washington 26-14, won the year before that 49-21. And then the year before that, lost to Washington in the Pac-12 title game. So I think that this is obviously a very back and forth rivalry. So I could see Washington being able to have the pieces with obviously keeping the quarterback, not losing him to the transfer portal is a massive keep there. I'm blanking on his name that I cannot remember to say Desmond Williams. So a big keep to keep Desmond Williams in-house. You want to see continued growth from him. Jed Fish, obviously a great head coach, and his third season now, went 6-7 the first year, 9-4 in the second year. So I'd like to see some improvement, especially against ranked teams. Can't have a 17-point loss against Michigan, can't have a 3-point loss against Wisconsin if you're going to be able to develop that a little more. So Oregon, I have them going 11-1, 7-1 in conference. That should be enough to make the conference championship game. But as always, hit one of the 2 videos down below, hit the subscribe button up here, and hope you have a great 4th of July and a great time celebrating with your family. As always, have a great day. Bye.